Assalamualaikum and good evening to each one of you. My name is Amrizal Komi Mazli and my friend over here is Nondia Nabiti Zabah, and we are a student from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, UTeM. So today, we are very honoured to have Encik Muhammad Ridwan with us, a seasoned professional in piping engineering. We will be discussing a crucial aspect of engineering, which is the Code of Professional Conduct in Engineering Ethics. So Encik Muhammad Ridwan, could you please take a moment to introduce yourself, providing some background on your experience and journey as engineer? And also, could you also share how many years you've been actively working in the engineering field?
Okay, alright. Hello to everyone. My name is Ridwan. Okay, I've been working since 2006 as an engineer, so total around 17 years. So I've been working as a M&E engineer, mechanical engineer in the building construction, and then after that I joined oil and gas for the next 15 years. Okay, so yeah, okay, I think that's all for the introduction. Not much, I think.
Okay, thank
And
you for the
it's
introduction.
basically it's repetitive.
Thank you, Cik. Okay, so moving on to our first questions. How do you define ethics in the context of engineering, and how does your understanding of ethics guide your decision-making process in the workplace?
Okay. Basically, engineering ethics is basically it's like a principle or guideline that engineers have to follow. So it's not like a standards or calculation that you can do, but it's more on the principle that you have to make sure that decision making is aligned to the obligation that you have against the publics, clients, industries, all the stakeholders basically. So it's not just for your for example for the sake of your calculation or for the sake of your project, but make sure that okay everyone that is involved or directly or indirectly. So if for example like if you design a building, for example, or design a road, for example, so you make sure that the road is safe for the driver, even for the pedestrian, and also or for in terms of like costs and everything as well. So yeah, that's basically ethics for me. Yeah.
All
And
right.
then you basically another thing is that you have to be truthful, honest, and there's basically transparency there as well.
Okay, moving on to our next
Okay.
questions. How do you navigate conflicts between engineering goals, such as efficiency and cost reduction, and ethical consideration in your projects?
Okay. The yeah, basically to balance everything. Okay. So in the end, okay. Firstly, when you execute a project and everything, so you have the project specification, for example. Specification basically is the minimum requirement that you have to do, and then you have the what do you call that codes and standard, international codes and standard as well. So that means basically the standard that is applicable to uh, worldwide, for example like SME codes or something similar to that. And then you have also the project cost and everything, and it's also safety. So basically if for you to make sure that to balance everything, okay, so you need to have a baseline. So basically, and then depends on the company as well. Okay, for the company they need to for them to execute the project ethically, so they need to basically the priorities have to be set right. So that means first will be the safety first. So safety of the people, safety of the environment, safety of the assets and everything have to be put up first. So then on top of that, then you have to go for the codes and standard that is engineering practices that you have in the industry, for example. So these codes and standard have basically the minimum requirement that you have to make sure that to meet to ensure that the thing will be running safely. So like for example, and then I think there's this term called alert, which is as low as reasonably possible. So this is what we call as the exercise that to make sure that whatever you design is cost effective and also is very safe for everyone. Okay, so like for example, in this example, something like when you design a car, for example, okay, you design a seat belt to make sure that people are safe during if there's an accident, but there's a limit to like you cannot enforce everyone to wear a helmet inside the car, for example. So it's not cost effective. So that's what we call as a lap basically. So as low as reasonably possible. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take on that. So that's how you balance things.
All right. Okay. So our fourth question is, how do you ensure that the rights of all the stakeholders, including employees, customers, and the community, are respected in the engineering decision you make?
Mm, I think the answer would be that not that much different from the
The
previous one. So basically, when you decided to do things ethically, so you have to ensure that for example, for me, the first thing is safety. So that means the safety is applicable to safety to people. So like people like us and everything, even safety to the equipment. So that means the asset itself, the project that you are working on. Also the safety to environment. So basically all these three key element is basically the to for you to make sure the project is run safely is the most ethical thing for you to do. So the impact is okay. For example, if let's say people are trying to cut costs, for example, cut corners, like because they know if let's say for example if let's say they have to follow the some codes or standard, they need to make sure that okay this codes and standard have to make sure you have to do this maybe for example maybe 3 times of testing to make sure that the thing is safe. But for you to cut corners, for example, like, means you want to reduce the cost or you want to reduce the schedule, you make it only two, or maybe the third party inspector is not called upon, so they just forge the acceptance document by themselves, for example. So this is something that is not ethical, although you save costs or project in terms of money. But if let's say there are some things that you are mistakenly decided on, it can affect the safety of people, the asset, and also the environment. Yeah. So it's something like major accident happens like the Piper Alpha project, for example, the Piper Alpha platform, for example. So that's one of the thing that is partly is because ethically they are not doing the procedures as per the correct procedure. So because they are complacent, so they think okay because I have worked here for 10 years, for example, so I can cut corners accordingly. So without thinking about the effect on the environment or people or safety. Yep.
Okay, this will be the last question from me, and I'll be passing to my friend Nodiana. How do you balance personal and professional development while adhering to ethical standards in your engineering career?
Okay. All right. Okay. This basically to basic personal. Okay. You firstly you need to understand first what is your personal and professional development. So personal development can be like the way you more to interpersonal skill, maybe for example like your how you uh, communicate with people. Because what can I say, for example, if let's say you can still do your job correctly even though you don't know how to talk to people. I mean you don't know how to treat other people or communicate well. Okay, so to balance this one, okay, so you need to be seeking out opportunities to learn about ethical issues in engineering, so such as attending conferences, workshops, on top of just technical. Because technical sometimes you can also learn from like on the job. For example, you have some mentors, or you have some senior colleagues or your managers. So you have to take time to learn both side of the thing. So just because it's the when you, for example, even though sometimes the calculation might be right, but sometimes based on that calculation the cost might be too high for some people, so it's not applicable to them. So you need to balance this between technically possible and also ethically applying to the project or to the person that you want to work with. So to make sure that another way to balance it is to like I said just now, is to adhering to ethical standard, is to seek out mentors or role model that can be providing guidance and support. So this is the easiest way. So if you have somebody at the office, for example, at the workplace, that you have the senior, then try to follow and try to ask question for guides and everything. Especially ask question, because if you don't ask question, people won't know what you understand, what you don't understand. So this is the basis of for to do things ethically, you need to understand everything first. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, hi sir, my name is Nuriana. My first question is, can you discuss a situation where you had to balance the well-being of your team members with project deadlines and organization pressure?
Okay. All right. This is quite tricky question. All right. Okay. So one way to address this is to basically to foster a supportive environment. So basically, in that, okay, you need to set a deadline, but you need also to have a, what do you call that? What is the term? A logical timeline as well. So that means this is, you have to have the plan from the start. So to make sure that, okay, for example, if you need this by maybe in 3 months time, for example, okay, so based on the 3 months time, okay, you need to try to work back from that time to the current time, for example, to work back. Okay, so how many resources that you have, okay, what is the limitation on the, like the information, when can you get a certain information for you to, like critical information that you need to complete your task, or your team to complete their task. Okay, so from there you try to work on how many people you need, and then okay, this one you need to put it upfront. So once you put this, all these things upfront, so that means you lay everything on the table, so then you can discuss with your project manager, you can discuss with your colleague, okay, how much hours they can spend on daily basis or weekly basis. So and then you need to also that foster an environment where, okay, if let's say somebody is stuck with their work, or somebody is overloaded, or what do you call that, doing like for example need some additional information or training to do their job. So make sure that everyone can have a communication between, that means there shouldn't be any barrier. So that means just because you are, for example, I'm the manager, doesn't mean that, okay, whatever I have told you is the 100% truth, or not truth, I mean like 100% you have to follow. Because sometimes maybe there are some POV that maybe how do you call that, team member can know, that maybe they know how to do things more efficiently, then they can contribute. So if let's say people don't have this kind of communication, or what do you call that, relationship, so it's very hard for you to balance work and between project and the pressure as well. So this is all have to be in place first for you to be able to balance everything in the project. Yep. Okay, so
My
the
next
key
question
is
is,
basically, yeah.
oh,
Oh, sorry. Okay.
sorry, sorry,
It's okay,
sorry.
it's okay, it's okay. Right, it's okay. Can proceed.
Uh, my next question is, how do you incorporate environmental consideration and sustainability into your engineering project, and how do you justify this decision ethically?
Mm, Okay. Okay. Looking at the current trend as well nowadays, because basically sustainability and environmental conservation is very crucial. I think most even most clients and engineering companies now is looking forward for this zero carbon or net zero carbon capture and everything. So one way to incorporate this conservation is um, to do a lot of engineering studies upfront before the project. So that's why nowadays, okay, last time when project starts, you have this, they call it as FEED, for example. FEED as is front end engineering design development. So, but now they have even like basic concept to front end pre-FEED phase and also FEED phase. So these two additional phases in the front. So they this is where we can incorporate or propose more what do you call that, environmental friendly on and sustainable technology that we have into the project. Okay, because what we need to ensure that, okay, apart from this environmental conservation and also sustainability, we need to make sure that it is cost effective as well. For example, if let's say you in the end, if let's say for example you can propose this one, for example proposal A, okay, you can reduce this certain amount of carbon dioxide emission, for example, but in the end you have to increase the size of your, for example, platform by 1.5 times. So in the end, that amount of energy that you have to put in to build that extra 1.5 times, and also the material that you have to use on that 1.5 times actually overweigh the carbon emission safe that you can do by this option A. So this is where you need to work together with all stakeholders. Okay, that means the from engineering side, operation side, client side, and even the local authorities, for example, for maybe some countries they need local authorities approval and everything. So they make sure that okay, this is the proposal. Okay, you have this proposal A, B, and C, and you have to tabulate everything on the table transparently. That okay, option A, okay, this is the emission that is there, but this is option B and C, it's the same thing. So once this one is decided, people can decide on which is the best option. Then only then we go into detail on design on that one. So this is basically how you have make sure that all this sustainability and environmental condition is taken into account for you to start. Mhm.
Next, how do you ensure transparency in your engineering process, especially when it comes to potential risks and ethical concerns?
Okay, I think as I mentioned just now, so basically this transparency can be done effectively if the communication between you, your team, your client, your project managers, everyone involved is what do you call that? Properly encouraged. So sometimes people don't ethically don't have an ethics problem, but because of they are very hard for them to communicate with you, they tend to hide things, for example. So for example, if let's say you are afraid of your manager, for example, sometimes when you do mistakes, actually ethically you should tell your manager, okay, boss, this is I did some mistake here, we need to fix this. Okay, this is basically transparency. But if let's say for example, you know that if you talk to your manager you might get fired, for example. Okay, so this is kind of environment which is not suitable for transparency to be act upon. So for example, if let's say even the client, for example, if let's say the client is too strict with their engineering consultant, for example, so they say okay, zero mistake. So if let's say there is any mistake that's being done, so the engineering consultant company might try to hide it, basically try to cut corners to make sure that the project can still go, but the client won't know. But in the end, because the problem is that with this is that sometimes it it is okay at that point of time or that phase, but sometimes during operation, for example, maybe during construction, all these things will start to come out, and then you can see, oh, this is a major problem, then it may delay the project more. So basically, in my opinion, for you to foster all this transparency and ethical behavior, the best thing is to foster the communication between you, your team, and every shareholder that you have. So yeah, so people can communicate freely, even with regardless of their position or anything. So this should be the main thing.
Okay. Last
Okay.
question is, in your professional view, how important
Mhm.
is ethic in workplace? Can you share your perspective on the role of ethical standard fostering a positive and productive professional environment?
Okay. For me, apart from your technical competency, I think ethic is one of the main, very important part of you, especially being an engineer, because basically you have to understand that engineer basically, if you just go to fundamentally, engineer is to becoming an engineer is to serve the community or the basically the people. So basically, whatever that you design or whatever you do actually is affecting a lot of parties. So, like for example, if let's say you design a car, so your car is going to be, you have the responsibility to design the car that is safe to drive. That means it's safe for the people outside the car as well. So everything have to be in place for you to make sure that your things is safe to run all over the place, for example. So basically this can only happen in basically with these two things, which is the your technical competency and also your ethics. Because if let's say, like I said just now, if let's say your ethics is way off the chart, means you are not, you don't have any ethics, you are tend to do things which is just profitable. So instead of the correct material to be used, you buy a lesser material just because okay it looks the same but it won't have the same function, for example. So and then this is the kind of thing that ethics, that means even if you have the technical capability, but ethics can take away all your technical capabilities to ensure safety basically, and scrap it and throw it on the side. So for me, as a professional, I mean, as an engineer in my workplace, okay, for me, ethics is very, very important. So I need to be transparent about whatever I do. So everything should be open for discussion. So it means if let's say I made a mistake, I need to highlight it as soon as possible. If I spot anyone doing something unethical, we need to confront the person to make sure that okay, please, this is unethical. Please do your best to do it this way. Or you have, if you have problem to follow the ethical way to do it, we can discuss. Okay, if not, if let's say there's no other way, then you have to report this to your line manager. Or if you have an ethical maybe supervisor or ethical department in the office, okay, please go to them. Even though it's going to be affecting the person, the other person's livelihood or the work in the office or something, but if let's say they cannot change based on your confrontation, so you have to step up and go and inform the responsible parties. Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Right.
we appreciate your time and expertise, Encik Muhammad Ridwan. Your depth
Uh-huh.
of knowledge and commitment to ethical engineering practices is truly inspiring. Thank you for being part of this discussion.
Terima kasih banyak Encik Ridwan. I think that's all for today. I mean from our discussion that we need to discover for this ethical conducts. And that's all. Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Amriza Komi Mazli and my friend over here is Nordiana binti Zabah, and we are the final year student from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, UTeM. And today we are very honoured to have Encik Wan Ahmad Wazir Encik Wan Ahmad Wazir Effendi bin Muhammad Sani with us, a seasoned professional in lead piping engineer. So today we'll be discussing a crucial aspect of engineering, which is the code of professional conduct in engineering ethics. Could you
Wah, okey okey. Start terus soalan terus.
Okay,
Ada
no, belum soalan lagi. Could you please take a moment to introduce yourself, providing
ah,
some background on your experience as engineer, and could you please also share how many years you've been actively working in the engineering field?
okey okey. Okay, Assalamualaikum and thank you. I am engineer technologist Wan Ahmad Wazir Afandi. Currently I'm working as a project manager and branch manager in Tuah Consult located in Kota Kinabalu. And so far I have 17 years experience in oil and gas industry, major mostly on mechanical piping, and currently holding the performing management works lah. Okay, okay. That's all.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Encik Muhammad Nazir. Muhammad Wazir. Okay, moving on to our first question. How do you find ethics in the context of engineering, and how does your understanding of ethics guide your decision making in your workplace?
Okay. Mostly what I understand, ethic mean etika in Malay, and most of the student and most of the people in the world thinking that ethic ni more to bribery, benda-benda yang macam berasuah, benda-benda tu je lah. Tapi basically in engineering, kita it's okay for me to speak in Malay,
Sure, sure.
or we need to fully in English.
Supposedly to be fully in English, but I suppose it is okay to be in Malay also.
Okay. Actually, in engineering, we have a lot of code and standard to be followed in order for us to establish any works lah, to complete any works in engineering and also in construction lah. Then the code and standard ni have coming from international code standard, local authority, and in oil and gas normally we are using the British standard and American standard lah, as me. So apa ni dalam kami punya kerja ni, we need to follow all those standard. And then for me, all rules guide and the guideline from code and standard ni, that's I'm calling it as ethic lah. So when we not follow the guideline, so we consider an unethical person lah, an unethical engineer.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to our second question. How do you navigate conflicts between engineering goals such as efficiency and cost reduction and ethical consideration in your project?
First of all, the conflict between engineering goal and efficiency and also cost reduction ni, first of all we need to comply with the engineering goal first, and by hook or by crook, what cost we need to pay to comply with that, so we need to pay lah. So no other shortcut for that. But if no other option, all the option that we have is cannot comply with the engineering goal, so we should choose the option that have a less negative impact lah on the engineering goal itself.
Okay, I see that. Okay, so moving on to our third question. In the decision-making process, how do you weigh the overall utility or happiness that a group might bring against potential negative consequences for certain individuals or groups?
Okay, in the decision-making process, okay, as a manager, normally before start the project, we need to have a good project schedule. So we need to consider all the team members, all the personnel in the project have enough time to complete their works lah, basically. So if we can consider that workers punya timing, then I think we can see the happiness of that project lah. Every time everybody have enough time to complete their works.
Okay, and then how do you ensure that the rights of all stakeholders, including employees, customer, and the community, are respected in the engineering decision you make?
Okay, basically for question number 4, we must ensure as an engineer, we must ensure all the decision that we make should have a supporting document, and we have a good reason to defend our decision, and also the supporting document that I mentioned earlier, maybe the code standard and all the guideline, international guideline lah. So with the good supporting document and backup, so nobody can argue what you are deciding lah.
Okay. Okay, moving on to our next question. How do you balance personal and professional development while adhering to ethical standards in your engineering career?
Okay, to make it balance, I think maybe what I did right now is one of the example lah. Maybe when we have some experience in engineering, so we should share with others and try to contribute to community lah.
Okay. So on to our next question ni, I'll be passing the questions to my friends over here. Nurdiana binti Zabah. You may start.
Hi sir, my name is Nadia Damiti Zaba. My first question is, can you discuss a situation where you had to balance the well-being of your team members with project deadlines or organization pressure?
Okay. Actually, this kind of pressure always happen lah in engineering industry lah. uh, for us, like us, we are engineering company, engineering contractor. So we always have the tight schedule to apa ni to complete our job lah. And then I think we can balance it uh, if our workers working in under pressure, so we can balance it by rewarding them, uh, give a good overtime scheme or bonus lah. And the other thing, maybe we can try to manage properly before project start. We should prepare a good project schedule lah before project start lah. Basically.
Okay, my next question is, how do you incorporate environmental consideration and sustainability into your engineering project, and how do you justify this decision ethically?
Okay, basically, in term of environmental consideration, um, I think in the guideline and the code and standard that we has been established in the world, um, they we are engineers, um, try to avoid to do something that will give a major impact to environment lah basically. And I believe it is stated in the all the engineering guideline yang ada lah. Even local authority punya guideline pun memang ada state lah benda-benda macam ni.
Okay, my next question is, how do you ensure transparency in your engineering processes, especially when it comes to potential risks and ethical concerns?
Ada transparency engineering process, especially when it comes to concentration. Yes. Okay, I think I don't have a good answer for this, but just follow the guideline and code and standard lah. I think with the uh, apa ni, if you are following the code and standard and so on, you will never face the super bad situation lah. So, but by following the code and standard, you are transparent already. Nothing to hide.
Okay, my second last question is, if you discover that a college involved in unethical practices such as bribery, how do you approach the situation ethically?
Hmm, okay. Basically, in ethical way, we just report to the authority lah. If the act lead by my colleague will be lead to the major problem lah. Otherwise, if it's just a minor thing, I think just give him some advice is enough lah.
Okay, my last question is, in your professional view, how important is ethics in the workplace? Can you share your perspective on the role of ethical standards in fostering a positive and productive professional environment?
Hmm, how important ethics? Ethics in workplace, of course, it is important because it will ensure that our works is in a good quality lah. And my perspective, the good ethical engineer will be receive a great will be receive a good grades from the others lah, especially from the management, the workers under us, under our supervision, and also from community lah. Yeah. I hope I answered your question lah.
We appreciate your time and expertise, sir.
Mm.
Your depth of knowledge and commitment to ethical engineering practices is truly inspiring. Thank you for being part of this discussion.
Mm.
Terima
Okay,
kasih
okay.
banyak-banyak, Cik.